The Albertlanders. November the 20th, 1909 dawned bright and fair. At the early hour there was unusual activity in the homes across Auckland and beyond, for this was the day that Elizabeth Emily Blomfield was to celebrate her 95th birthday. As many of her family as possible were to attend a reunion lunch to pay court to the grand old lady known to everyone as Grandma Blom. Watching all of her offspring arrive, Elizabeth felt very proud. She had 101 living descendants by this time, of whom 80 were here at her party. If children were riches, then she was a truly wealthy woman. After a magnificent lunch, several of the men made speeches telling the gathering about their adventures on the goldfields, in the Karri forests, and on the camping trips throughout the country. Last to speak was Elizabeth's youngest son, Fred, now in his 50s, who described the experience of coming out to New Zealand as perceived by a 5-year-old boy. He remembered the large gathering at the Bower Church in London, where men and women were openly weeping and sobbing as their friends and relatives prepared to emigrate to a savage country at the other end of the world. He remembered the minister calling all the men and boys to the altar and giving each an axe to clear the forest, a spade to till the ground, and a Bible to convert the Maori into Christianity. Elizabeth Blomfield decided to emigrate in 1862. In England, her family had been fervent Baptists, attending the Metropolitan Tabernacle in London of the well-known Baptist evangelist, the Reverend Charles Haddon Spurgeon. When Elizabeth's husband William died, leaving her a widow with a large family to care for, she began to attend the meetings of the Albertland Association settlement, so called in memory of the Prince Consort who died a few months earlier. At these meetings she heard many speakers, including the Reverend Spurgeon, urging interested persons to join in establishing a nonconformist settlement in New Zealand. To Elizabeth, the idea sounded exciting. They were to found a settlement in New Zealand similar to the one started by the Pilgrim Fathers when they immigrated to America 200 years earlier. On reaching New Zealand, each man would be given 40 acres, with another 40 for his wife and 20 for each child, on condition that they lived on the land for 5 years. Reasonably priced passage would be provided, about £16 each, on ships, specially chartered through the Shore Saddle. The Albertland block was to be used for the settlement, consisted of 30,000 acres situated on the upper reaches of the Kaipara Harbour, only about 80 miles north of Port of Auckland. There would be plenty of space and clean air, with opportunities for the young people. What a wonderful start to get away from the dirt and the grime and the crowded conditions of overpopulated London. After much discussion with her eldest son, Samuel, my great-great-great-great-grandfather, who was already married with 2 children, Elizabeth Blomfield decided to join the Albertlanders and immigrate to New Zealand. And this is the contract ticket, although I do have the original. Her discussion was received with mixed feelings by her children. Emily, already in her 20s, stubbornly refused to go. "My work is here," she said, "with the needy people of London." Frances, on the other hand, not quite 20, could see all the young men in the party travelling to the colonies. Maybe she would find a nice beau, either on the ship or in that faraway land. 17-year-old Mary Ann was thrilled at the prospect of a long sea voyage. She loved children and looked forward to the months on board the ship where she would be able to teach her small brother Fred and help Sam's wife Emma with their 2 girls, Alice and Grace. She derived great joy from gathering young children around her and telling them stories. Unlike Frances, she was not interested in young men, being very conscious of her deformed hand with 2 fingers that were a thumb where the thumb should be, and she tucked this hand in front of her blouse as she said, "Oh yes, Mother, I think it would be a wonderful idea for all of us." Young Charles Blomfield was deeply religious, even at 14, and he wanted to go to New Zealand in order to help sow the seeds of the perfect religious equality in that far-off region, as he had been exhorted to do at the meetings the family had attended. But little Alan and Fred were too young to voice their opinions and went along quite happily wherever the family took them. Sam Blomfield and his mother made all the final arrangements with the Albertland Settlement Association in Shore Saddle and booked to travel on the Gertrude, a fine, roomy ship of 1,300 tons due to sail on October the 31st, 1862. It was to cost a total sum of £112, but after some discussion Sam was able to work his passage and the fare was already reduced by £15.50. The deposit paid on the 10th of October, leaving the family only 3 weeks to pack up their belongings and prepare to say goodbye to the home country.